Okay. All right, it says we're live. Great, there's the picture. Okay. I have two screens I'm looking at here. The one on YouTube and the one on my software. Anyhow, I'm going to keep using the streaming software. Everything went well yesterday. So that's cool. Anyway, good morning. Welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside. It's the 14th day of June. I wrote it down this time. I put it in the heading and then I said it was something else. So, you know, it's just how that goes, I guess. So it's a Thursday. And I've decided today to use a different tarot deck. I've been using the Rider-Waite, which is the traditional one. There's a universal weight, which is maybe a little cleaner version of it, but I like the colors on that one actually better than the universal weight. The other one's just a little too shiny. But the Morgan Greer is colorful. I mean, it's essentially, it conveys the same, you know, meanings basically. It's describing the same situations as the Rider-Waite does. It's just more colorful. Here's an example of the Devil card. So you can see it's, you know, much more visually intense. Here's the Six of Pentacles. So you see they're just, I don't know. Well, there's the Queen of Swords, my favorite card in all decks. So yeah, mostly the Thoth deck is my favorite. But something about a queen who's had enough with a sword in one hand and a severed head in another. I don't know. I just like that. So I think I've shuffled enough. And let's count 13 and see what this has to show us. Oh, the moon. This is a neat card in this deck. Let's see if I get this right. Maybe I'll pull it back a little bit. There we go. It's just a, I don't know. I like what they do with this deck. It's just neat. So I like the colors. I like the depictions. But, you know, I mean, you've got this incredible purple lobster right here, which, you know, signifies transformation and all of that. The moon is the mystery. It's the 18th card of the major arcana. So numerologically, it's a 9, or completion. But here we're talking about illusion and deception and, you know, kind of a, well, you're talking about also the crone aspect of the goddess, although this is in the full moon, so the full moon is actually the mother aspect. The crone would be, you know, a crescent. Well, if you're drawing, you know, anyway, doesn't matter. But basically, we're talking about as above, so below. We're talking about cycles of life, about what's hidden from view. But it's also about awakening. And you've got the two towers in between. That's significant. There's always, well, I shouldn't say always, but oftentimes in these cards, what you'll find pillars. You'll find, like on the High Priestess, you've got, you know, she sits between the two pillars. You've got, like in, you'll see trees that, like a tree on either side of something sticking up. Here you've got the two towers sticking up. It's about balance. It's about inner polarity, structure. But basically, with the moon, when the moon card shows up, what I always think of is what's either going on inside me or what am I not seeing? You know, what am I not seeing that's going on? I happen to like the moon card. I see these as less negative, probably, as a lot of people do, maybe. But definitely, you know, you've got two dogs barking at the moon. You've got one light and one dark, symbolizing the polarity within. And then you see the lobster emerging from the water, denoting transformation. So again, you know, like we've been talking about all week and last week as well, is inner transformation and psychic awakening. You know, we're confronting our fears. We're trying to see what's hidden within us, to see what the darker aspects of who we are, maybe bringing them to light, transmuting them, bringing bringing source energy, bringing spirit into informing us in our daily lives, so that we get rid of those dark areas, because the dark areas reflect ego. They don't reflect source vision at all. So if we remember that we are in fact source energy, that we are the creator in form, if we begin there instead of beginning in reaction to everything around us, then we are creating, and then we cut through the illusion that the moon is talking about. And we don't deal with that anymore, right? Because we're seeing with full clarity. The other aspect of this, especially with this particular card and the moon being so big, is that it may be giving us clarity that we're not really paying attention to. So maybe those darker aspects of ourselves that we don't, you know, want to see, maybe it's trying to illuminate and says, hey, you know, you got to look at this. And so I think that we're seeing a lot of that right now with these kids that we can't seem to do anything with except hurt. So maybe we need to look at that, especially after what I read yesterday. Listen, if a baby is breastfeeding, you don't take it away from the mother. You know, it's not good for the mother. It's not good for the child. Physically, for the mother, you're going to cause her great harm. You know, you want your milk to dry up on its own. It will after a point. But a 4-month-old baby, if you're still breastfeeding at 4 months, you know, I breastfed till my kids were almost 2 years. So, you know, I don't know. That's just, you just can't do that. You're going to harm the mother. She can get an infection. The milk ducts clog up if they're not released. So what's she supposed to do? Express milk till, you know, when you've told her she's never going to see her kid again? Yeah. Yeah. We need to see what's hidden. It's not about whether you're conservative or liberal. It's simply about humanity, isn't it? It's about being human and understanding we're all one family. And no matter what you think about immigrants coming into this country, can't we just agree that we don't take nursing infants away from their mothers? And then handcuff the woman when she's protesting? Because trust me, I would protest. I mean, wouldn't any mother? Well, our rune for today is Ingwas. Now this rune can actually be drawn two ways. It can be drawn this way, like a diamond, equal-sided diamond, or it can be drawn as two X's, one on top of the other, like a DNA helix. And Ingwas is about the seed. It is, I use it in a garden bind rune that I do. I have one hanging in all my little greenhouses and growing areas to speed growing and for successful harvest. It's an earth element rune. It's the 22nd rune of the Elder Futhark, making it very special. In numerology, there's some runes that are not necessarily reduced. 11, 22, 33, those numbers are considered master builder or considered master numbers. And the 22 is the master builder. It's basically what brings us into form. And so I used to draw this one as the double X's, but I actually like it this way better. What we have here is the sudden release of energy. It's successful, successful outcome, successful fertilization, basically. And we have, it also allows us to focus and to center, but it tells us that we have a fertile opportunity in front of us. It's kind of it's our genetic inheritance. It's considered the male counterpart to Birkenau, which is another rune of fertility. But it invokes the desire within for expansion and for something positive to happen. I mean, I suppose it could be used for the opposite, and that seems to be what it is that's happening. I mean, what are we birthing? You know, what is coming to fruition? What is coming to truth? So maybe, you know, we're going to have to look at some hard truths about who we are in this country and what we do to people, whether it's people coming in or just American citizens themselves, and the things that people are expected to cope with when you don't have health insurance, when that's being taken away, when you don't have opportunities that anyone else would have, when you're expected to live without a living wage. Now apparently domestic violence, people fleeing their countries due to domestic violence, women and children doing that. That's not going to be something we're going to let them in here for. We're not going to let them in here to protect them. So apparently that doesn't rise to the level I mean, I guess women and children are just supposed to deal with it. You know, gang violence, not enough to let them in here. These families are fleeing conditions that are not healthy for anyone and could cause their death. So why wouldn't they try to go somewhere else for a better life if those countries can't do that for them? So you can understand the natural urge for parents to want to protect their kids and to give their kids a better life. Sure, you're not always going to have, you know, the best folks. You know, maybe you will have some that want to do something nefarious here, but we have our own citizens that do that. So that's just people. It isn't a question of where someone's coming from or whether or not they're not a citizen here and they want to be, or the color of their skin or anything else. This is simply about parents wanting something better for their children. So basically they're invoking the desire within for a better life. And so they're taking the chance, irrespective of what they're going to find when they get here, they're taking the chance for their children. That's what this is. So we need to think about this. We need to think about who we are and what we present to the rest of the world. I know that a lot of what America has been an illusion. You know, you can't say we're the shining city on the hill if we allow the kind of racism, or if the kind of racism that exists here exists. There's a darkness to this place now, and maybe it's becoming so dark so that we see it. You know, this is hard stuff to look at. It's hard stuff to experience. It's hard stuff to think about and to search your soul about, to find out, okay, what am I doing to contribute to this whole thing that's happening here now? We have some questions to ask ourselves. You know, we have some illusion to break through about who we are. Balancing the dark with the light within, understanding that we have to create a better vision, a better source vision for our existence here. What's happening in the world now is terrifying. It's like down is up, you know, on is off. Everything seems opposite to reason and to what's reasonable. And I think that for today, what the moon is telling us is to take a look at what that disparity is within, how it seems to reflect without, how are we manifesting all of it. We have to figure out that what we're seeing here is a service to self focus. It's not service to others. It's not living in the greater unified presence of who we really are. To make any child fear, particularly an infant, is, I thought, not what we are. I mean, when we say we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, did we mean it? Because either we do or we don't. And if we don't, then our Constitution means nothing. It just means nothing. All right? I mean, either we're all equal and we all have a chance and we all have a right to be here. And, you know, these folks, if they're coming in a way that's not legal, then all right. But if they're coming and knocking on the door and say, hey, this is my situation, can we live here? Well, they're doing it right. And don't take their babies from them. I didn't think this was who we are, and maybe that's the problem. Maybe we've all been living in the I didn't think this is who we are aspect, and not really seeing that, yeah, maybe we are this. You know, nobody wants to think that Americans are this cruel. And for the most part, Americans aren't. Most of us are not. But you do have a certain segment of the population that evidently sees the other in a way the rest of us don't. And that's unfortunate. But give that woman her baby back. Do it now. Do it with the ultimate shame that should come with it. But give her baby back. Do it now. And if I see another congressperson tweeting, oh, let's take a stand. Oh, stand up, speak out. No, get on a frickin' plane and go down there. Go down there. Storm the place. Get arrested if that's what it takes. Bring the cameras. Do something. Don't just tweet about it. Grow a pair. Be the lawmakers that we elected you to be. And don't allow this travesty to happen in this country. Well, I'm going to go water something, so you all try to have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow, and blessed be.